It's Tuesday. I'm AJ.
And this is Dan.
He's Dan. And this is Tuesdays with the Packy Run podcast.
Yeah, we are. 17 and 69 and 666 and 38,
42,
45, 12, 11.
Welcome to the Packy Run podcast. My name is AJ Lagambina.
And I am your co-host, Dan Mayotte.
And we're back for another week of shenanigans, tomfoolery, and God, I had something for this. I lost it.
Yeah, come on.
I blew it. It's
everything
fine.
is always in threes. You can't just do and something and then something. It's always in three.
Remember, kids, comedy comes in threes.
Well, I feel like that's also just an English thing too.
We do like threes. I was watching some YouTube video where they were talking about the is it the hexadecimal system? Everything's based on 6 and 12, 3.
Yeah.
Because it's more natural. The day is divided into 24 hours. That's 3 hours at a time. My work day is divided basically into 3 hours at a time, which is miserable sometimes. It's been a long week. If you can't already tell by listening to the two of us not know what to say.
Yeah, I got
Oh, man.
I think 30 more hours. This is the most hours I've worked in a work week in a long time.
We're both basically retail shills now. We're just at the mercy of our payment overlords.
Yes.
And on the one hand, I appreciate the paycheck. And on the other hand, on the other much bigger hand, I am very tired.
I am very tired of answering dumb questions.
Oh God. Yeah. It's it physically does something to the human body when you have to answer just dumb questions consistently. I'm convinced that it's going to give us the same issues that CTE brings on. Your brain just gets so just beaten down.
Or you just get angrier and angrier.
Oh God, that's the worst part. It just doesn't stop sometimes. You go an entire 8-hour shift and by the end of it, I don't think either of us is doing anything that's very physically taxing, but at the end of 8 hours where you're just answering stupid questions over and over and over again. And I also kind of feel bad because, even though the questions are stupid and that affects me greatly, it's not necessarily the other person's fault. I mean, every once in a while when they're being an asshole about it,
right.
Then you really kind of sit back and be like, man, who raised you?
Some people, I get it. Maybe some people don't go to my neighborhood in Boston and they don't go to this grocery store because I'm a grocery store worker. I was thinking about it. The physical demand of a grocery store worker is not hard. It's just mentally taxing, especially during times like this.
Yeah, that's why I miss my old job before I started answering phones, because there's something to be said for getting to the end of a workday that's physically taxing. That.
Yeah.
More often than not, that feels really good. But yeah, the mental strain over the course of 8 hours, I find way, way worse.
For sure.
Enough about us griping about our lives. We're here to have a good time. And what better way to have a good time than to crack open an ice cold one with your boys on the Packy Run? That sounded good in my headphones, which doesn't often happen.
I guess I just know how to do it. I positioned it right in the mic, not to...
And Mayotte's got the magic touch.
I do. Move over, Brad Tuller.
Oh, no.
I'm the new audio engineering king. Move over, Will Yip.
Brad's coming. Brad just entered the chat. He's big mad. He's not okay with you coming for his throne, especially with a room that's just not treated properly.
Well, you know what? I'll engineer his next record and it'll be better. No, it won't.
I'd like to see that. Womp womp.
It'll just be all bass. Just turn the bass up and then that's the end of the I'm like, yep, did it. And Brad will be like, this sounds the exact same. And I'll be like, no, I turned all the bass up. It sounds great. What are you talking about?
It sounds good in my car.
It sounds like it's going to blow out speakers.
It's like that. It's like that trend that's going around on TikTok. What's that Weekend song where The Hills by The Weekend, but it sounds like it's in somebody's like terrible like 1998 Honda Civic with like 3 subs in the back where everything's just vibrating.
I wish I knew this trend on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok.
God. Oh my God. I've seen so many of those videos and it gives me flashbacks to being on the UNH campus. Cause you know when like the guy with the subs in his car drives by
Yeah.
and you kind of sit back and you're like, there's no way that sounds good to your ears. Like 1, you're doing permanent hearing damage.
What?
But 2, like,
What?
but for 2, like it can't sound good. It doesn't sound good out here, which is clearly what you're trying to do is impress everybody around you, but it doesn't sound good to us, and it sure as shit doesn't sound good to you.
Yeah, that's true. Wow, this is already going a little off the rails.
We got way off topic. What are you drinking tonight?
With that crack, I'll tell everyone what I am drinking. I am drinking Wicked Hazy, Samuel Adams IPA.
Your cousin from Boston.
It's actually pretty crazy. So today, when I was on my break at my job, I had this iced tea, and I swear to God, it tasted like an IPA. I think it's like,
really?
Yeah. It's $3, so it's kind of an expensive drink, and it has caffeine in it, but like it is. I was like, whoa, why does it feel like I'm drinking a beer on my lunch break right now? This is insane. And
what is the brand and where can I find it?
I can't disclose where I work.
Welcome to my world.
Yes. I think it's Hoppy Iced Tea, or like it's Hoppy something or other. That's the name of the brand.
Oh, so it's brewed, it's tea brewed with like actual hops?
I don't know what it is, but it's brewed like beer. And I had one today that just tasted like IPA, so I guess I'm on an IPA kick.
A while since I've been on an IPA kick, but that used to be like the thing that I would drink.
I used to not be into it. I was like, why would I want to drink something that just tastes like weed? And maybe I sound uncultured and like I don't know, like sue me, guys.
They might be the IPA lords. They're coming for you.
The IPA Association.
IPA Association of America
is just going to write really bad reviews. They don't even know the difference between an IPA and a Pilsner.
They're coming at you with their leather like half height boots, cords, and terrible flannel shirts.
Yeah, and like long beards that go past their mask.
But weirdly meticulously kept.
Yeah.
Like perfectly shaped.
I mean, I have seen a couple people wearing like masks for the beard, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Suffer like the rest of us and have the weird indent that makes you look
human.
Odd. Yeah, be a human. That's been the theme of this week. I just want people to be humans. I'm fighting a losing battle on that front. But
yeah, I mean, the other week a woman cussed me out for not letting her in because we were at max capacity.
Nice.
Class
All right,
act.
Karen.
Anyways, what are you drinking? Done complaining.
I know we gotta get on a more positive kick here real quick. I am drinking the New Belgium Brewing Company Fat Tire Amber Ale.
It's a good one.
Which I took a risk on it, actually. This was a favorite of mine in college. Our roommate Justin used to drink it pretty frequently, and you can always find it at bars. Like, it's a pretty ubiquitous brew.
Right.
But I stopped drinking it after my 21st birthday because I spent my 21st birthday in Washington, D.C., and I went out with my friend Pat and my cousin Bobby and his wife Amanda, and this is pretty much what I drank that entire night, in addition to a shot of Well tequila and something whiskey based. And then when I got back to the hotel that we were staying at for the conference I was at, the director of our Model UN program offered to buy me a beer.
Oh,
and
no.
Listeners
was it
at home,
Flat Tire?
I take no pride in telling you that I was very intoxicated. And I was unable to have the conscience of mind to say no to him offering to buy me a beer. So we went to the hotel bar and I ordered yet another New Belgium Fat Tire. And ever since I woke up that morning and went monument hopping across Washington, D.C., where I spent the entire morning dipping in and out of Starbucks trying to use their bathroom so that I could vomit, I've avoided New Belgium Fat Tire.
I mean, there are some drinks that definitely bring back a weird sort of memory that you just you stay away from forever, or you stay away from for a while.
Yeah, the good news is, the smell of Fat Tire and the taste are not invoking they're not invoking my gag reflex the same way that whiskey does. So I think I'm good for the time being, and it's pretty decent. It's an amber ale. Yeah. It's very basic. It's kind of like a less good Boston lager, to be honest.
Like you drink it and you just wish you were drinking Boston lager? Pretty
much.
I mean, and they're like pretty much the same price.
Yeah, $10, $11 for a 6-pack. Nothing super fancy, but better than, if I was sitting at a bar right now, there would be some guy that would be like, "Oh, Fat Tire, nice choice," as opposed to everybody that looks at you drinking a Miller High Life or a PBR and they're like, "Who hurt you?"
I mean, I think there's worse things to be drinking than PBR.
Anybody drinking a Natty Light or a Busch is just, they're hiding some deep rooted pain.
Speaking of Natty Light, there's a convenience store around the corner from my apartment, and you can get 2 of them for $2.50. And man,
that's too inexpensive for any kind of alcohol, especially that kind of alcohol. That's unacceptable.
I haven't been that. I'm glad I'm not at that point.
You haven't reached that low.
Right.
That's good to hear, Dan.
Yeah.
Yep, I have not reached the point where I've been willing to spend I almost said 200. I have not reached the point where I've been so low that I felt the need to spend $2.50 of my hard-earned American money on tall boys of Natty Light.
I don't think I've ever even had a Natty Light or a Natty, like, anything.
At the final Bee Pie show at the Powder Room, what were there were 2 or 3 30 racks that went around when the old lineup of Blumpkin Pie played Beer by Real Big Fish. I know one of the 30 racks was Bud Light.
Probably a Natty Light slipped in there.
It was probably Natty Light or Busch. Or maybe Molson? None of us are Canadian, though.
I don't mind Molson, though. Like, my dad gets Molson all the time.
Honest to God, I've never had it.
It's not bad. It's
You would think as a hockey fan, I would be at least tangentially related. But no, never. It's never come across my bar stool.
Right, yeah. Like, even the hockey games that I worked back at Barclays, they didn't sold Molson. It was only like Bud Light and like, I don't know. I never went to a hockey game, so I wouldn't know. I was too busy working.
Gotta fix that at some point.
What, like go to a hockey game?
Absolutely.
Dude, hockey games are so good. Live.
Oh God, I love hockey so much.
Speaking of that, TD Garden is opening back up again.
TD Garden is opening back up again. Music venues are going to be allowed to open at half capacity soon, and as of today, we're recording this on Tuesday at 6:55 Central, 7:55 Eastern, which for those J Blau fans in the audience means it's almost 10 o'clock. That joke just derailed everything that I was about to say. God. As of today, I guess Texas is just wide open again because Texas will do as Texas does.
I mean, Texas could be its own country, and I don't view Texas as, obviously they're part of the American states or whatever, but like they're like the most likely to succeed from the union.
Yeah, I've had mixed feelings about Texas for a long time. Being a East Coast elite and then flirting with the idea of potentially making a move there and then giving up on that idea.
Not now.
Hell no, not now.
They just had the worst cold spell ever.
I'm okay with the cold. It's more about the fact that,
you're okay with it until everything...
until you can't find heat.
Yeah, exactly. Like...
Yeah. We'll save our We'll save our political hot takes though for right now.
I will say this. If anyone in the state of Texas listens to this, why would you ever vote Ted Cruz back in when he literally abandoned your state while you guys were suffering through everything and he went to like Mexico?
So he is a confirmed lizard person.
Like, why would you vote for that? Like, what
I don't want to
redeeming
spread
quality does he
conspiracy
have?
theories here.
I mean, I don't care. Like, conspiracy theories aside, like, throw them out the window because, like, I mean, they're just fun speculation.
But like, it's funny to call him a lizard person. I don't actually believe he's a lizard person, but like, look at any recorded anything that he's ever done. That dude doesn't know how to be a human being. Why would anybody elect him as a public servant? He's not a person.
Well, and the fact that he was like, oh, you know what? It's too cold. I'm going to go to Mexico. And then, like, when he got on the plane, he was like, you know what? This is a really terrible idea. It's like, yeah, no shit, dude. You
He did not think it was a terrible idea until he landed in Cancun and was like, oh, people are big mad because politics is all about optics.
And then he was like, okay,
no
you know
shit,
what?
Sherlock.
Let's go back. Like, why would you vote for that?
One of these days, the Packy run is probably going to have to go political. But
Yeah.
I think that's as far as we can go for right now because neither of us know anything. We're just guys drinking beers, talking about music and the Patriots. So we're
Yes. Speaking
it is what it is.
of Texas and football, JJ Watt finally signed with a team, and
Arizona Cardinals.
which I thought his tweet was so funny. Like, it was just a picture of him working out in like a Cardinal shirt, and he was like confirmed, and it's like at JJ Watt, and he confirmed the news.
I like
because
I like that kind of presentation. I'm okay with that.
well, like, so the backstory behind that is somebody on Peloton named, like, I think it was KJ Watt or something like that, narrowed it down to like 3 teams and had like 4,000 followers on it. So like JJ Watt heard about that and he was like, I don't even own a bike. And then he confirmed the news that day.
I mean, the off-season carousel continues to go. I want to have faith as a Patriots fan. I really do. I want to see something cool happen. I'm worried. I'm worried.
I mean, we'll see.
It's been a year since we let Tom Brady go, and while I still kind of stand by that decision, man, we are not looking particularly great right now.
I mean, we're looking better than a lot of teams who are making cuts left and right, and we can scoop all of those guys up.
Yeah, I think we wait and see, but as it stands right here, right now, at almost 10 o'clock on Tuesday.
Yeah, there's nothing.
The optics aren't great, even if the reality ends up being better than what anybody thinks it is.
Latest rumor I saw was apparently Juju Smith-Schuster and the Patriots have mutual interest in one another, but like who can take, like, it's all rumors at this point. We can't take it with a grain of salt.
I'm the John Oliver meme right now. Cool.
There was also talks about Aaron Jones from the Green Bay Packers, him possibly both being interested in each other. And I mean, like, Patriots could be looking at a running back this offseason, especially as dynamic as like an Aaron Jones, for example.
Yeah.
But who even knows?
It's we're still taking a wait and see approach right now, which is that's better than having no faith. But
right, I think free agency opens up. I think it opens up next week. Not next week, but like I think it opens up the 12th. No, 17th.
Oh, my money would have been on the 13th
we'll probably
for some
have
reason.
some more predictions. We'll have more predictions later on in this week. Not week, but like month. But nothing right now as far as that goes.
We'll talk about
and we're going to talk about some music today.
We're going to talk about some real good music today. I'm excited about this idea.
Yeah, since we are last week we did Basement, Wish I Could Stay Here. and we talked a lot about one band in particular named Title Fight, which I think you could probably, if the two bands that come out of that scene, I would say they are the ones that align the most with one another as far as like trajectory and popularity goes.
Yeah, I would argue at this point, Basement is definitely bigger than Title Fight. Title Fight has that cult classic kind of thing going on, especially since they kind of dropped off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
It is it's probably my favorite meme on music Twitter is when an anniversary comes up or something comes along and somebody just goes, "Where is Title Fight? Where in the world is Title Fight?"
I like the meme that's like the kid with the stick and it's like poking at something and it's like do the thing, except like it's like Title Fight, do the thing. They're poking at Title Fight, do the thing. And honestly,
like
the thing at this point is Glitterer, which is Ned Russin's like side project. That sounds It's basically Title Fight with electronic beats and like other instruments behind it.
Yeah, it's very kind of like weirdly experimental punk. Like you kind of hit the nail on the head. Like it's definitely got that. It's Ned Russin, who's one of the vocalists in Title Fight and the bassist. Like obviously there's going to be overlap and similarities, but it's got that very Title Fight feeling. But there's a lot of just weird sounds you wouldn't expect. And honestly, not too bad. Not entirely my cup of tea, to be honest. Every time I try it, I kind of sit back and I'm like, I wish it was Title Fight. But
I wish it was like a full band. Like I like it, but it doesn't have the same feel to it as me. Like to me at least, it doesn't have the same like with a band, it has like a certain energy level, and I've seen a couple live videos of Ned Russin performing, and it's just him and a mic and like a laptop backing him. Yeah. And I'll be quite frank about it. It just seems kind of lame. Yeah. And it doesn't have the same oomph as an energy as like a live band has.
I agree with you there. The flip side of that is, where else would Title Fight go sonically? They've got three LPs. Dead, Laurel Green, Hyperview.
Right.
3 LPs, a bunch of 7-inch singles and EPs and stuff.
Which we're gonna get to.
They've covered a lot of ground. So I kind of don't blame Title Fight for kind of falling off because as a band, that's got to be so difficult, especially with, they've always sounded like Title Fight, but they have swung in a lot of different directions with their sound. I don't blame them for kind of hanging it up a little bit, but I wish I could go see them play live more.
And I mean, pop punk is heading in the direction, like we've seen it with like Machine Gun Kelly, for example. It's going towards a more electronic feel to it. For better or for worse. I think it's cool that there's new sounds heading into like the genre. And Glitterer seems like the smaller version of like the more underground of Machine Gun Kelly, for example. Maybe not on the same path or like the same sort of thing, the same sort of like level, but I mean they're kind of in the same ballpark as far as like sonically goes.
Yeah, and I kind of see the last thing I'll say before we get into some actual analysis here is punk, the genre of music, has always been super tied into like the social aspect of things. And, punk music has always been tied so close to, subculture and counterculture. And what's more, what's a better example of subculture in 2021 than, rap and hip hop artists that are independently releasing all their music on SoundCloud and Bandcamp and everything else. Like if punk music is going to survive, it's gonna get married with that. And we've seen that throughout, we've seen it throughout our lifetimes, basically. I mean, some of the absolute biggest bands that you could consider alternative or even kind of related to punk, all of them became successful as soon as they started doing a little bit of a crossover with rap and hip hop kind of music. So, what we're seeing with someone like Machine Gun Kelly, everything Travis Barker has put out for the past 5 years, I mean, all of it is that's the direction it's heading. So if you like actual, subculture kind of things, and if you believe in that kind of way of life, get on board or pop off and become, I feel like a lot of the punk kids from like the 90s are rapidly becoming like the 50, 60, 70-year-old dudes that we've all grown up with that won't shut up about AC/DC and the Rolling Stones and how music was better back then. Like, if you're not on board with the progress, you're just going to stagnate.
I mean, that's a lot of rock fans, though. Like, they're all stuck in the past. And, I mean, it takes a lot of people to try to bring a genre up. And if you want rock to be relevant again, you need to adapt and you need to have these new sounds. But let's
There's room for guitars in those spaces.
Right.
But yeah,
exactly.
Let's focus on Title Fight. I've got my 45s ready.
All right, I don't have spring songs. I only
have the rarest of the first press on translucent orange vinyl.
Of course you do, vinyl snob.
Because I was a vinyl snob and now I haven't bought a record in months.
Except for that Manchester Orchestra record that you mentioned last week.
Haven't pulled the trigger on it yet, but I will because it hasn't sold out yet. I'm biding my time.
Poser.
Oh,
Poser.
no.
Poser.
No.
Poser. Not a real fan.
I hate everything.
All right. What should we go into first?
With my money. Which one would you like to go into first? We go sequentially?
Yeah, let's go into the last thing you forget.
Cool. So I guess what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of a track by track the way that we usually do. And we're going to do a little bit of comparing and contrasting between Title Fight's first big EP called The Last Thing You Forget, which was originally released on Run for Cover Records.
Are we just going to do the ones on the EP and not the compilation tracks?
If you want to do the compilation tracks, we can do the compilation tracks.
That's a little too much.
Go for it. I'm good.
All right, let's talk about Symmetry.
Yeah, let's start this off with first song off of the first EP called The Last Thing You Forget. The song is called Symmetry, which is right off the bat probably one of my favorite Title Fight songs of all time. And as a whole, just what a way to introduce yourself to the band.
Yeah, I mean, this is their, how old were they at this time? They were 16, 17 years old?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were just getting out of high school. Some of them were at this point.
I mean, this band started off young and they grinded for a very long time. They were first abandoned in 2003 when they were just 13 or 14 years old.
Exactly. This album this EP came out in 2019. No, not 2019, 2009. Wow. So over 10 years old at this point. And yeah, Symmetry is this is one of the most truly punk songs that this band ever wrote. Just fast and aggressive and this is old emo, emotional hardcore. There's hardcore influences all over it. The vocals are all shouty and the recording quality of it is kind of similar to what we were talking about with Basement. It's gritty, it's raw, and it's very much you can tell that there were 4 dudes in a room kind of working on this recording.
Yeah. I mean, would you classify this EP as a hardcore EP though?
On the whole, I wouldn't hesitate to. I mean, it's definitely, you can hear where the band is going to go from here in that slightly more shoegazy kind of direction. It takes a lot of influence from some people like to differentiate Youth Crew from hardcore. But I think the broader the brush, the better when it comes to genres. Just people get, you and I included, people get a little bit too caught up in classifying it rather than enjoying it or debating it.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, Symmetry just has it's the first song on the EP. It's fast, it's aggressive, it's big and in your face. And
I love the chorus. You broke me like a mirror. 7 years keep adding up. Walk barefoot through the glass, not a single cut. That's, for 16, 17-year-olds, I think that's really good. It's not cringy. It's it's good. I think it's it really shows that they grew up knowing how to write lyrics. And I think to be a good lyricist, you need to be the person that gets A's in all your English classes, for example.
And I love the trade-off of the vocals between Ned Russin and Jamie Roden. I'm pretty sure Jamie does the verses and Ned kind of handles the choruses. And yeah, that chorus is huge. Getting to see them play this live is like I still think about that show all the time at the Royale in Boston, where I got to see them and then meet them afterwards, which was the craziest thing. I basically, me and my best friend at the time went to a title fight show on a school night with my AP European history teacher because she and her husband are very close with all these dudes. So yeah, great dudes, great song. My big thing is the refrain at the end. That's my favorite part of the song. The balance, I'm losing it, and the ground beneath does not exist. You're a match that can't be lit. Spark of flame, burn infinite. You know, being like a junior in high school or a senior, I think. I forget.
Yeah, I don't
Probably
know.
a junior. Yeah, you can imagine little junior year AJ running around a school with his headphones in, listening to that, and feeling like a special little man.
You are a special little man.
I regret
hate
saying
that
it.
I just said that.
I super
saying
regret
that.
putting it on record, and I want to cut my ears off listening to you say that. Wow. I already hate everything.
You're my special little man. My
Don't
special
ever.
little man.
Don't ever. Moving on. The
Moving
next
on,
song
special man.
Fuck you.
Moving on, we got introvert. Introvert.
I'm burning down all these memories. Throw the ashes out to sea. I mean, they were young. It's angsty. I mean, not that Symmetry wasn't angsty, but Symmetry is just so well put together that you do have to kind of sit back and be like, wow, this band is this good already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Introvert,
but they were refining their sound for like 6 years before this came out, though.
yeah.
I mean, it was trial and error, and also to title fights. To give backstory on them, I think, wasn't it one of the Russian brothers, like the older brother? He was in like Cold World. He was like the lead singer of it or something. I think I heard about that rumor.
Oh, so
was
I
in
never got
some-
super into Cold World, but yeah, that just awoke something in the back of my brain. Like, yeah, maybe. I think so.
I think I remember hearing that somewhere. Can't confirm it. But if you haven't heard Cold World, I would suggest that you do, as AJ is destroying his apartment. His mic might be able to pick up on it.
Probably not. No, something about that makes sense because this EP was released when Run for Cover Records. I mean, they're kind of like a force in the indie scene now.
Right.
But when Run for Cover first started, I mean, it was really, really small when this EP came out. This was the thing that kind of put them on the map. And
Right. And like that, I mean, to think about Run for Cover, I mean, we talked about Run for Cover last week, and that, like, I Wish I Could Stay Here, like, that came out 2 years after this one. But
this one came out when they were still doing mail order out of Jeff's dorm room, basically.
right, and Run for Cover had a kind of a bad reputation at that time. Like, people weren't getting
Because
their,
of this EP.
Right, really, I didn't know
EP
it was
came
because
out-
of this one.
Yeah, so The Last Thing You Forget was released by Run for Cover, and they did a run of this. It's a 7-inch record on vinyl, and they sold out like pretty quickly. And because of pressing plant delays and the fact that, you know, the label was being run out of a dorm room at Suffolk University, I believe, like, mail order wasn't getting filled. Like, people were buying the record over and over and over again, and they're just like, he was a college kid at the time. He didn't have the time to like fill out all of these orders.
Right.
So yeah, this was the thing that kind of put Run for Cover on the map, but also like gave them a bad reputation for a little bit. And this was when Run for Cover was still kind of very hardcore adjacent. So yeah, the Cold World connection kind of checks out there.
Right. But anyways, Introvert, I mean, another really good song. I mean, it kind of, the thing that kind of gets me on this EP is everything kind of blends together and sounds the same.
Yeah.
And this kind of does, like, it's like kind of Symmetry Part 2, except different lyrics.
Yeah, and worse lyrics, I'd say. I mean, I
Right.
hope it kills you to know that I'm doing worse than the day before. Like, get over yourself, buddy.
Right. And I mean,
I get the
Basement-
feeling, but get over
and
yourself.
Basement can get they can get away with that as long as Fisher can deliver it in the proper way, but it's not the same.
Yeah, the music is I think it has a little bit to do with the actual instrumentation. The instrumentation on I Wish I Could Stay Here is so much more mature and emotive as opposed to this, which is so rooted in that kind of hardcore basis, where you end up listening to a lyric like that and you're like, yeah, okay, you're big mad. Go take a nap, go to school, and you'll be over it in a couple of days. But then you
force myself to
no one
sleep.
stays at the top. Oh, go ahead.
Right. Oh, I was going to say, I force myself to sleep, but when I wake up, you still won't be with me. But in my dreams, you remember my name.
Yeah.
That's a cringy lyric right there, if I do say so myself.
The nostalgia checks out for sure, but when you analyze it, yeah. And I think that's going to be the theme of a lot of the albums that you and I end up talking about this year. We're going to be sitting back and being like, ooh, yeah, I didn't know.
Right. Now, no one stays on top forever.
This is another one. It's very similar to Symmetry. Like, it's weird that two of the best songs this band ever wrote. Not to take away from like the insane kind of maturity that they ended up showing over the next, 6 releases after this. It is kind of crazy that two of the best songs the band ever wrote are on their debut EP.
I mean, that doesn't happen very often. I can think of like one other one, and maybe that's Weezer.
Yeah.
But like Weezer is a different case where like the Blue Album is now considered a classic record, and I wouldn't put this record in the same pantheon as the Blue Album by Weezer, at least in the mainstream.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. My mind immediately went to like movie references, I guess. The Blue Album is kind of like Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Like everybody knows that. Everybody knows that film. Everybody loves that film.
Right.
And rightfully so. Like, great. That's the Ferris Bueller's Day Off is the Blue Album. I feel like in the long run, Title Fight as a whole is going to kind of be remembered like Heathers, where like everybody that's Heathers. Have you ever seen Heathers?
I haven't.
Oh, you should watch Heathers. Heathers is great. But that's the thing, is that like it's a cult classic. Like everybody that has seen it loves it, but not as many people have seen Heathers as Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I feel I'm missing a different obvious. I feel like there's a different, more obvious comparison, Ferris Bueller's Day Off versus something else, but I can't think of it. So listeners at home, tell me that I'm wrong, but that's the one that I'm going with for the recording. So here we go.
Yes. So right off the bat, we don't really have, the first, like, Symmetry was the best lyric song on this EP.
Yeah, they came out swinging.
Yeah. And I enjoy the music. I enjoy everything. And to be honest with you, I never looked at the lyrics until right now or today.
There's not a lot of Title Fight songs that I can sing like with accurate lyrics. Title Fight is I don't have a better word for it, so I'll just say a passive band for me. Like there's a lot of music and a lot of bands where I listen to it and like I want to play guitar along to it. I want to sing along to it, I want to be involved. And if I was seeing Title Fight live, obviously like it's a punk show, I'm going to get involved. But listening to Title Fight is totally passive. Like I'm just going to sit back and absorb the energy that's coming through.
Yeah. Knee deep, I'm losing sleep. I can't find yourself when you've lost everything. Hanging on to all your words beneath the sheets, you buried me. I'm suffocating quietly. This record on repeat.
I'm not mad at any of those lyrics as mad as I am at you left me with the weight of the world to lift.
Oh, come on, bro.
Again, like, I get it. They were 16 at the time. Like, man, young heartbreak is brutal.
That's what hardcore and punk is, though. That you do have these cringy lyrics, and they tend to move away from it after this.
And I think that's part of the reason why they've become so highly regarded is that like they came out with this EP and like sonically it was just so in your face and so good at being in your face that when they started down, the path with Shed and Floral Green,
right,
it was like, wow, they went so far above and beyond what you would have expected for a band like this. Like, I think that's part of the charm of Title Fight.
Right, and I think they're an influential band that has influenced every single band in the scene, and a lot of bands try to sound like them, and they don't have the same energy or the
That's
same
always been
or they don't have the same hardcore roots in it. Like this band knows their stuff. Like Ned Russin played in a bunch of hardcore bands. Like, I mean, he had Disengage. He had God, I'm thinking of a bunch of other ones. I'm just blanking on the names right now. But like they know their stuff and they can back it up.
Ben Russin does drum teching for like every Philadelphia-based band ever. The number of shows that I've gone to where I've run into Ben, been like, "Hey man, like nice to see you. I'm sure you don't remember me because you meet 1.5 million people and everybody wants to talk to you about Title Fight, but like, hey, we've met on a slightly more personal level."
Right.
Like that dude's everywhere.
Never forget when so on the Run for Cover YouTube page, there used to be this syndicated show called Tuesdays with Tay. And there was a moment on it where like it's just people asking Tay, like one of the people at Run for Cover, questions every Tuesday, and somebody asked him, why isn't Title Fight straight edge anymore? And then I think he got on a FaceTime call with, I think it was Ben.
Probably Ben.
And he was like, "Oh, I thought, aren't you guys straight edge? Like, someone thought, like, caught you with a beer in your head." And he was like, "Oh, I forgot I was straight edge."
Yeah, for those of you that aren't aware, Tuesdays with Tay, I'm sure that there's a playlist on the Run for Cover YouTube. That was especially our freshman year of college when Dan and I were first, living together and becoming best friends. That was like the thing that connected us. Like every Tuesday afternoon, we'd finish up with our afternoon classes and we'd both get back to our room and be like, "Is it up yet? Is Tuesdays with Tay up yet? We gotta watch." We would wait for each other to get out of class so that we could sit back and watch this 10-minute video of the mail order guy for some independent record label to just answer questions from the Run for Cover Tumblr.
Basement, never heard of them. Clink.
Clink. Oh, man.
I just want to say one more thing about the last thing that you forget. So the original came out with 3 songs, but then it expanded into pretty much a full-length album. So go check it out on Spotify. Definitely give it a listen to. And it was like the remaining, I believe, 11 songs or something like that. 9 songs. Excuse me, I can't count. Those came from previous EPs. So if it looks like we're not covering the full album, that's why.
Yeah, we're doing the actual EP release, which I think is, to be completely honest, I think those are the 3. I mean, of that release, I think those are probably the 3 best from that release.
For sure. Now the next one, we got Spring Songs, which came out on Revelation Records.
And that's probably a good place to start with this. One of the more interesting things about this band is that Title Fight, they hopped record labels really frequently. They were on Run for Cover, they hopped onto Side One Dummy, Revelation Records, Anti Records. I feel like I'm missing one.
There's probably like another one.
Maybe a split EP on No Sleep or something, or Top Shelf maybe.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
They were kind of all over the place.
Let me see. Sea Legs.
Oh, Sea Legs. Yep.
I don't know which one that is, but that was with Touche Amore.
Yep.
Who we've talked about in the past. This band kind of hopped around as far as releases goes, and I kind of like that.
Well, because every time they hopped labels, they kind of hopped genres. Like each different label got a different version of this band.
Kind of like Ceremony.
Yeah, similar to Ceremony. That's a great call out.
So like to those people who are at home sitting wondering who Ceremony is, they're in the same similar space as Title Fight, I would say. They're like a punk band, and they went from Death Wish to Bridge 9 to Matador Records, and just recently They're on Relapse Records. They've also been on Malfunction Records and plenty of other ones. I'll say this, what I like about title fight hopping record labels is it kind of gives them freedom. They're not tied down, they're not bogged down by a contract, for example. They're kind of free reign to do whatever they want.
Well, and it was also really important for fans of the band. So, someone like me who got into them a little bit before they released I think the only record label that they released multiple records on was Side One Dummy.
Right, which is a good record label. They have really good artists across the board.
Yeah, but for someone like me that was following this band, following them across those record labels also opened me up to a bunch of other stuff. I would never have listened to Ceremony if it weren't for Title Fight. I never would have listened to the Run for Cover Records roster if it weren't for Title Fight. Anti Records. I mean, I can't. I wouldn't know about Tom Waits if Title Fight hadn't signed with Anti Records.
Dude, he's been around forever.
I know, but it probably would have taken. I either never would have heard of him, or it would have taken a long time if I hadn't listened to Title Fight. This band just did insane things.
Yeah, they're not afraid. They're not afraid to do their own thing, and that's kind of what Spring Songs is kind of all about, in a way.
Yeah, I will say, Shed was my introduction to the band, really. Floral Green, I do think, is a masterpiece of punk and alternative music. That being said, Spring Songs is my favorite release from this band. And I'll say that right up front. I'll say it right up front. This is, Shed was super important. And I think, in my musical journey, Shed was the more important release. But Spring Songs by far is my favorite thing that this band has ever done.
I would have to agree with that. It's good from front to back. While in The Last Thing That You Forget, you kind of hear the same similar sounds. Every song is different on this record. And even a song like Hypnotize, it kind of leans into and hints at the next record, for example.
Yeah. And I mean, it does that while also being, I think there were a lot of people that were concerned, like we just talked about. The Last Thing You Forget was very aggressive, very raw. Shed was slightly more refined, but still had all that energy. Floral Green, they have songs like Head in the Ceiling Fan, where it's like, oh, they're kind of leaning into the shoegazy, alternative, slow burn kind of thing. And then you get into Spring Songs, where they really kind of showed, we can still do loud really well, but we can blend that with some of those shoegazy elements a lot better.
Right. Which, in the first song to kick it off with, they have Blush, which it's the typical Title Fight song, the loudy, shouty vocals, very aggressive and loud.
And it shows it's cool to do this after doing The Last Thing You Forget, because, 2 out of the 3 songs, and arguably 3 out of the 3 songs on Last Thing You Forget, you are kind of sitting there and you're like, yep, that's a young man he's experienced heartbreak for the first time or something. And then you get to this where it's all introspection. Last year, I tried to learn what makes me so insecure. What better way to pass the time? I lost myself in my mind. I just want to hear the words you speak when I'm not around. What do you think? I think I'm hopeless. I think too much. Bruised and broken, covered up with blush. And the way that into what is basically the chorus, the way that's delivered, it's got all of that aggression. It's got all that energy that you would think of a Title Fight song with, but the production is miles better while still maintaining that grit. It sounds like it was made for vinyl. It's got that warmth. It's got, the guitars are huge. The drums are, pounding, but they're not produced. It sounds like a drum set. The kick doesn't sound like a cannon. Neither does the snare. It's all just this is what I would argue every modern punk band for the past 10 years has been looking for this sound, and none of them have done it as good as this band.
I would agree. And I think this really shows the genius of Will Yip, keep that name in the back of your head, because that name's going to come up a lot this year. We're going to keep talking about Will Yip. But I think I mean, this came out in 2013. Last thing that you forget came out in 2009. Will Yip is a fantastic producer and knows how to get the most out of bands and can really see the vision of what a band wants to do while adding his influence and flair to it. And he doesn't make, like, for example, in the past, I'll use Richard Spencer as, Phil Spector. Phil Spector as an example, as a producer. Like, all his kind of...
It's funny that Richard Spencer and Phil Spector are in the same part of your mind, but go ahead.
I mean, they're both terrible people. Phil Spector is not
Yes.
a good guy. You can look it up. He also died recently, so who cares? Anyways, like, every one of Phil Spector's records kind of sounds the same feel to it. Whether it's the Ramones, the Beatles, or anything else that he has done, they all kind of had the same feel to it and the same sort of influence in sound. You can listen to any Will Yip record that he has produced, and it's different across the board. And I mean, like, a producer's job is to just suggest things to the band to try out. That's all the producer does, merely. Or am I wrong, AJ? Yes and no?
It depends on the It depends on the situation. You're gonna hate that I say it. You're not wrong. But
This is like a classic AJ term that he always says.
oh, I inherited it from my cousin Mike Daly, and his wife Jamie right now is fuming if she hears this.
You're
Because
not wrong.
she hates when he says it. She hates when I say it. You're not wrong. Because I'm right. But God damn it.
We're off the rails.
Yeah, no, in the simplest terms, yeah, you're absolutely right. The producer is just there to, kind of pull more out, to kind of see the grander vision of things and to try and, keep the ship steady, basically. I actually wrote my senior thesis on, the role of the producer, and the role of the producer and the role of the engineer has become really kind of intertwined.
Yeah.
For better and for worse. And I won't get into it because I can go down a real big nerdy rabbit hole. And I'm sure when we inevitably have Brad back on the podcast, we'll talk about it. But yeah, you're right.
Maybe we'll get into that later on, like another time.
Yeah, you can definitely hear the Will Yip influence on here. You almost hear it in the way that the brand progresses. I think lately, in the past, let's say 5 years,
Yeah.
Will Yip has kind of shown his cards a little bit. Like, especially now, you hear something that Will Yip has done, and it's really easy to sit back and be like, yeah, that was recorded at Studio 4 in Conshohocken, Pennsylvania with Will Yip.
But in the context of 2013, where he hasn't shown his cards yet.
Yeah, it's definitely like the biggest influence that you can hear from Will Yip on this particular record is like, oh wow, the songwriting got really tight, like really good.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this could have been on Last Thing That You Forget, and I wouldn't blink an eye. I think like the chorus is miles ahead of anything that's on that EP, but I think it could have been on there for sure.
I agree. And then you get to what a lot of people I think would consider like the masterpiece, that if you had to give one person one song from Title Fight to be like, this is why this band matters,
Right.
I think it would probably be a Toy.
This is a straight up pop song. Just with the do 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 do, and just the way that the chorus like kind of flows. Don't throw me away. I wanna be your toy forever. Like I wanna be your toy forever. Do,
Yeah.
do, 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 do. Don't throw me away. Do, 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 do. As I'm going into like a reenactment of Be a Toy.
It's from a songwriting standpoint, it's really smart. You're right. It's pop songwriting. It's just, this has such a negative connotation, but like it is what it is. It's just so straight up, and it's got the hooks of that pop songwriting kind of side of things.
Right.
It's got that, it doesn't lean into the aggression of like the hardcore roots of the band, but it's
not head on the ceiling fan though.
yeah, it doesn't go that far into the stare at your shoes and let the music kind of speak for the sadness bass while the vocals kind of drone kind of thing. It's a little bit more upbeat than that, but it's not so upbeat that it gets to aggression. It's a really interesting song to try and pull apart because all of the production choices on it they're based on punk music. They're based on realism, I guess is the word. Just like, again, that idea of 4 guys sitting in a room and banging out a song with 2 guitars, a bass, vocalists, and drums.
Right. And I mean, like, it's a punk song in essence, but like I love the melody of it. The
I think that's why it's a punk song. It's a back to basics punk song because you think of back to basics punk. You think of the Clash and the Ramones, right? And their whole thing was pop songwriting, but strip everything else away. It's just a band that's playing songs that are catchy as hell. And that's kind of what Be a Toy is, even if there's a little bit of extra something on top of it. For the most part, it's just pulled away everything and here's the catchiest song this band is ever going to write. Take it.
I think you can argue this is maybe even be the best song that they've ever written.
I think it's easy to say it's the best song they've ever written. I don't think it's the best song they've ever written because I think there's an argument. I think there's a solid argument for Blush. I think 27 off of Shed. Head in the Ceiling Fan.
Let's put it this way. Let me pose this question. So if you were to show someone Title Fight for the very first time, would this be one of the first 3 songs that you would show them?
This would probably be song number 1.
I think
I think I said that at the top of this part. I think Be a Toy is probably the song where people are like, I've heard a lot about it. I've heard a lot about Title Fight. I don't quite get it.
Like even someone who strictly only listens to pop music, Kiss 108, I think they can get behind this type of song.
108. I've been out of Boston for so long, I forgot.
Kiss 108. I think they could get behind this song just based on the punk sensibilities of it, just in the same way as they would get behind Sugar We're Going Down by Fall Out Boy.
That's not a bad comparison, actually. It sounds like such a weirdo, like, industry kind of term in this day and age. But yeah, as far as crossover appeal is concerned, I mean, this is the song. If this band was going to get like major radio play, I think there's a really strong argument to be made that Be a Toy is the song.
Yeah, but I mean, they could have, and I mean, on future releases such as Hyperview, they could have gone this direction very easily. They chose not to. I mean, spoiler alert, Hyperview, I would say it's a very hard record to get into. Once you're into it, you're into it.
Yeah, probably the least favorite album by Title Fight fans and non-fans alike. I find a lot of value in that album, but that's one of those interesting albums where you have to listen to it totally from front to back. And I'm sure that at some point on the podcast we'll get into it. But yeah, I think the verdict is if you're gonna show anybody Title Fight, or if anybody listening to the podcast hasn't heard Title Fight before or hasn't really given them a chance, this is a great place to start.
Yeah, I would start here. Moving on to Receiving Line, which it's a slow-paced song. I wouldn't say it's a ballad. It's kind of like one of those just introspective, like chill songs. And it might be my favorite song on this record just because like I just like it that much.
Yeah, I like the imagery. This is kind of, Receiving Line kind of touches, it almost crosses over into that like Menzinger's territory of like storytelling. Like it evokes like images in your head. You know, we drove my car that weekend, 100 miles, barely speaking, 9 a.m. heavy breathing, try to figure out the meaning. Like even just that one part of the song kind of invokes that, like, I've been in the car with like a heavy silence before. You know, it brings to mind memories.
Cut my hair on Tuesday. I thought it would help you stay away from the New York subway world unraveling. I think at this point, was Ned going to school at like NYU?
I think so, because I think this was one of the times, especially especially later in Title Fight's career, there was a lot of talk about the guys like going to school and trying to graduate and going back and forth and stuff like that. They were similar to Tiger's Jaw in that way, where that was always kind of part of their narrative.
Yeah, I mean that was like part of a lot of those bands' narrative back in that day. Like a lot of those bands, like Transit, for example, that was one of those bands. Maybe not in the same sort of realm, but they kind of stopped. They kind of like went from touring all the time when they were younger, and then went to college and everything like that, and trying to handle being in a full-time band while also doing school. Also Turnover.
Yep.
Although they're weird. They were a weird band because all of those members went to college and did like online school at like different places.
I don't think I knew that about Turnover.
So one of them took online schools at UMass Lowell. I think it was...
There's worse places.
Right. I think it was Eric Searcy, if I had to think about it, which, I mean, problematic.
One of the guys.
We're not going to get into that.
That was a weird time.
But I mean, it's kind of like that introspective, like Today I'm a Stranger in the receiving line, kind of Ned, or I think Ben, not Ben. Ben's not the other singer, Jamie. Saying, yeah, I'm sorry for your loss. You probably get that a lot. I didn't have to talk. You probably get that. And I think it's just being there for someone who just lost somebody and you just don't know what to really say to them. And you don't want to say like, I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah.
In that kind of way.
This album came out right around the same time of Pianos Become the Teeth's album Keep You. So I lost both of my grandfathers within basically a year of each other. And I was like, I've learned that I was a lot closer to my grandparents than a lot of people are. So I remember that hitting me pretty hard. And I remember listening to Receiving Line and thinking about, what was going on at the time. And yeah, that one kind of part really kind of encapsulates that kind of feeling of like, I'm sorry for your loss. You probably get that a lot. I struggle with shit like that. Like, I don't know what to say when both pass away. Like, what are you ever going to say to somebody that's actually going to make an impact on them besides, letting them know that you're thinking of them and that you're there for them? Like, that's great. And I love the effort and I love the idea of that. But at the same time, it always feels a little bit awkward to sit back and be like, yeah, I'm sorry for your loss. Like, what is the other person supposed to say? Like, those are deep, deep issues.
It's tough to think about and it's tough to realize. And I mean, like, I think at the end of the day, it's just you have to be there for that person, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
That kind of like encapsulates it all, in a sense.
Yeah. It's again, like the songwriting is just instrumentally and lyrically. This EP is it's a masterclass in like, how does a punk band do emotion in the best way possible? It's these 4 songs. Right.
And not sound cringy or just not get the message across. And I think this really gets the message across. Like, just that chorus alone, and also like just all the other verses, like I cut my hair on Tuesday, I drove my car that weekend, 100 miles, barely speaking, it kind of encapsulates it.
Yeah, they do a really good job of, again, that Springsteen, that Menzingers, that Gaslight Anthem almost, which is weird because those bands have so little in common with Title Fight, really.
Right.
Besides the fact that it's 2 guitars and a bass and drums and stuff like that. Like, this is weirdly Title Fight doing their Springsteen thing, where it's like bare bones storytelling, basically.
Story time.
And that leads us into Hypnotize,
which we kind of hint at the beginning of this section right here. It kind of hints at the next record, what is to come for Hyperview.
Yep. It goes a little bit further into that shoegazy direction. It's a little bit more sonically and lyrically introspective. It's a great lead-in to their next LP after this. And you can tell because they're sitting there talking about daydream all day, stand and wait, hallucinate,
Which, for those ladies and gentlemen who aren't equated with shoegaze, because I mean AJ and I have been throwing that genre around like a little bit this episode, but to dumb down the definition of shoegaze, it's kind of just really distorted guitars with reverbed vocals and like lots of effects. It's very loud. It's a very loud genre of music, and like that's my best explanation of what shoegaze is.
Shoegaze is
And I mean, maybe you can speak more to it, but that's my best approximation of it. I'm just trying to inform the listeners at home of what exactly that might be, because they might not be informed on that.
I would argue.
Okay.
So think about like if there's two ends to a spectrum, right? There's one person on the left side, there's one person on the right side.
Okay.
If the left side is a music consumer, a listener who listens to metal music and likes technical metal because of the technicality of the playing.
Right.
The opposite end of that spectrum is the producer, mixer, engineer kind of guy that listens to music for the tonality of the guitars and the tone of the recording as a whole, and people that are super interested in the idea of everything being analog and everything being the greatest gear and guitars and amplifiers and effects and everything, and they're really dedicated to that side of the craft. Shoegaze is to the engineer person as technical metal is to the guy that loves the most ridiculous guitar playing of all time.
It's a very niche genre.
Yeah, it is fairly niche, but it's not dissimilar to what we were talking about on last episode with The Last Thing You Forget. Part of the reason why that album works so well.
I Wish I Could Stay Here.
Oh, I Wish I Could Stay Here. Like, part of the reason why I Wish I Could Stay Here works so well is because of the emotion that is being conveyed through the actual music itself. And that's the idea of shoegaze. The vocals are just another instrument. It's all about everything being kind of equal across the spectrum between the drums and the guitars and the bass and the vocals and everything. So oftentimes the vocals get buried, which is not for a pop audience.
Right.
And that's kind of where Hypnotize and Hyperview and some other releases from Title Fight kind of fall, where you're sitting there and you're like, oh, like, to this sounds so hoity-toity, and I don't mean it like that. I don't mean to put anybody down, but like to the untrained ear, it's easy to sit back and be like, I can't hear the vocals. Like, I don't hear the melody. What do you mean you don't hear the melody? Listen to the guitars, bro.
I mean, to me, I like music with melody, and maybe that's why I'm not that into shoegaze. And that's probably also why I didn't get into Hyperview for the longest time. I listened to it and I was like, I don't like this. Like the first time I listened to it all the way through, I was like, I don't like this.
You also don't listen to a lot of like instrumental music though, I don't think.
I mean, at this point, I do, but at the time...
Well, yeah, here and now, you listen to even more genres than I listen to. Like, I'll give you credit for that. But I think, especially coming up, I would listen to Explosions in the Sky or Cloakroom, or when Hyperview came out, I thought it was amazing. You were never really in that kind of realm of alternative music.
No, that was not my space. I mean, we all have different spaces. Like, I have one friend who, for example, is really into doom metal. And I just, for the longest time, while he was listening to doom metal and, like, stoner metal, for example, I just was like, I can't get into this. But then as time progressed, I was like, okay, you know what? I can get into it. I can name a few artists that I enjoy from it, but, like, maybe not my first pick.
It's kind of interesting that neither you or I got into that kind of stuff, considering the fact that we both really kind of love Sabbath.
Right.
Like, you would think that, people with a similar jumping off point would get to that kind of point, and that just never happened.
No, we're not at that evolution of our music listening yet. We'll get there.
I would argue I am there, but I am still kind of with you where, like, there is something about pop songwriting where when I hear a good melody, I don't care who's singing it. I don't care what the artist is. I don't care what if it's a great melody, then dude, it's a great melody.
Like, one of my favorite artists is like Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars is fantastic.
Oh my God. You and I, the car rides we used to have in Connecticut listening to 24 Karat Magic, the album, whole album.
I mean, I went through that album recently and I was like, oh my God, this album is so good. Well, we're getting off track
bangers.
Off track here, off the rails. Hypnotize, shoegaze. We just talked about what that is. I mean, it's not so much about the lyrics, but the lyrics are still effective and good in this song.
And a great callback to 27, I believe, off of Shed. Stay inside, I feel fine, ignore the signs. Is a callback to I'll stay inside, ignore the signs, can't wake up from this dream, it's not working this time. I think that's the lyrics to 27 off of Shed.
I mean, that sounds about right.
I believe there's a callback here as well, which is interesting the way that they call back to 2 LPs ago with the song that leads into the next LP.
I mean, interesting stylistic choice, but I'm not offended by it. I like that. I like callbacks. One of my favorite bands, the Wonder Years, did a lot of callbacks. Like the first album 2 through 4, there were a bunch of callbacks in those, and I love them all.
You need to choose what Wonder Years album we're going to do on an episode this year.
Well, I've given you all, and now I'm nothing. That one's turning 10 this year, so
sold.
That
one of the only albums of theirs that has multiple songs that I really love.
Oh, and I know all the inside stuff on that record, so I can speak in depth on that one.
For sure.
But chorus, is it too much to cope again? I just want to know, feel the drill through my head. It gets the point across, but it's not just, I'm really sad, like, you're the reason why I'm sad, blah, blah, like, it's, how am I going to cope with this again? Like, my head feels like it's just going through a drill. Like, I mean...
Yeah, it's bordering on, like we've talked about in previous episodes, angry white boy energy, but it never quite crosses the threshold. It's just it's hard emotions. How do I convey that lyrically in a 3-4 minute song? And, Title Fight knocks it out of the park on this one. I'm not mad.
The verses, are extremely short. I mean, the first verse, can't talk. First verse is 2 lines. Sink into the floor, what can't I say that you've heard before? And then the second one is daydream all day, stand and wait, hallucinate.
It's quick, it's to the point, and it's succinct. And
but also, are the lyrics the most important part of this song?
I would almost argue that the lyrics are almost never the most important part of a Title Fight song. Again, the reason why on the previous episode when we were talking about Basement, I said, there's so much Title Fight influence is because they're doing what Title Fight has successfully done even when doing a little bit of genre hopping. The instrumentals that Title Fight put together across their entire discography is just they emote better than any 4-piece band that I can think of outside of post-rock bands. I mean, instrumentally, the only band that I can think of that conveys the feeling of the song with instruments, the only band that I can think of that's better is Explosions in the Sky. That's it. And that's saying something because that's almost a completely different genre. So, Title Fight's a cult classic for a reason. Yeah. And this EP is probably, Spring Songs is probably a really decent part of the reason why.
I would agree. And part of that lore of this band.
Yeah.
All right, we talked about Spring Songs, and we talked about The Last Thing You Forget. Notice how I put The Last Thing You Forget, second EP I talked about, because it is the last thing that you forget. Boom!
God damn it.
Sorry, I had to. Someone had to.
So I think we did a pretty decent job in the course of the discussion of comparing and contrasting, but I think it's pretty obvious. If you had to choose one of the 2 EPs, which one would you choose?
I mean, I think when the first time I listened to Title Fight ever, I was 15 or 16 years old. And I think based on how I was feeling at that time, and I would probably go with The Last Thing You Forget, just because more angsty. But even when Spring Songs came out, that was the clear number 1 choice. And as I sit as a 26-year-old, that's still the one that sticks out to me and always will be. It's always will be my favorite Title Fight release no matter what.
I would agree. I think somebody says the name Title Fight, my head immediately goes to Blush. I think that is one of the definitive Title Fight songs in my head. And yeah, I think if you're going to compare the 2 of them and if you had to pick a winner, I'd say Spring Songs wins. But The Last Thing You Forget, especially considering the fact that it leads off with Symmetry, Like that, I mean, that was my introduction to the band. That's the thing, that's the song that's probably always going to be tied to that band the most closely, even if the first thing that I think about is Blush. The next thought in my mind is going to be Symmetry.
For me, it's Be a Toy. Like, that's the first, I'm like,
Yeah.
Just Be a Toy. I think that's one of the best songs from that scene written ever.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah, that's not much of a hot take. We haven't been in the hot take chamber this today.
Or in a couple of episodes, we're going to have to. The hot takes usually come when we're talking about sports. I think music, we're pretty level headed.
Yeah. Anyways, let's get into our recommendations of this week. You want to start off?
Yeah, I do actually. I've been, especially in the past couple of months, I've gotten really back into the Philip DeFranco show. Billy D, as he is known, he's like an OG YouTuber. He's like one of the original guys. And I used to watch Philip DeFranco a lot. Back in high school and early in college. And I kind of fell off the train a little bit. Really got to a lot of, whataboutisms. And I felt he was trying really hard for a long time to just kind of straddle the line.
For sure.
And it honestly felt like he was there. He was trying to do that for the sake of views on the channel. And especially in the past few months, I kind of got back into watching him. I've been watching his videos Monday through Thursday every week.
I have
and it's
too,
a great
actually.
it's a great 15-minute kind of summary of what's going on with, internet YouTube kind of news, but also with, more national stories and things like that. And he's really kind of come back into this place of like, I trust him and his team to, deliver some nuanced takes in a shockingly short amount of time.
Right.
I've really started to fall back in love with watching the Philip DeFranco show on YouTube. So I think it's youtube.com/Philip DeFranco. It used to be youtube.com/SXE Phil for the people that have been on YouTube since YouTube started becoming a thing. But yeah, the Philip DeFranco show. Go watch it. He's doing a really great job. I'm okay with it.
For sure. My recommendation, and I kind of alluded to this earlier, but I just found the name for the tea that I was drinking this afternoon. It's called Hop Lark. HOPLARK. And I had the really hoppy one. It's like a black tea. That one's really good. It kind of tastes like an IPA, but it has caffeine in it and tastes like a beer. It's fantastic. And when I got home, I had the Calm one, which is made of chamomile, and that was also really good too.
I might have to go make myself some chamomile tea after we're done.
Chamomile is great, dude. I would suggest those. Definitely check it out. Yeah, I mean, I can't disclose where I work, but think expensive grocery store.
Go.
That's all I can really say. You can also order online for like a 12-pack of it, and it's $35. So check it out. Awesome. Get your caffeine fix while also feel like you're drinking beer.
All right, kids. Follow us on social media, Instagram and Twitter at PackyRunPod. Do us a favor, tell your friends about us, tell them to listen to us, especially if they're into any kind of music, especially alternative music, or if they're big fans of the Patriots or sports in general, because we always try to cover all our bases here at the Packy Run. Just help us out. Word of mouth is the way these things grow, and we'd love to be able to do this for more than free, honestly. Not that we're looking at the Patreon model ever, or at least for the foreseeable future, but we have options, and we don't want to do that to you until we're at a point where we feel like it's actually going to be advantageous for us and you. So let people know, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, talk to you next week. Have a good weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
Sounds
take it easy.
Beautiful.